Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You are watching Hum Sab TV and I am Muneeb Hamid with the news in English. Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi said TAPI gas pipeline was an important project for the country due to its growing energy needs. Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi on Thursday said Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India gas pipeline was an important project for the country due to its growing energy needs. About prospective purchase of electricity from Turkmenistan, he said it would add a new dimension to ties between the two countries. The PM expressed these views during his meeting with Turkmenistan President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov at Ruhiyat Palace in Mary, Turkmenistan. Prime Minister Abbasi arrived in Mary City earlier in the day on the invitation from the President to participate in the link-up ceremonies of TAPI pipeline and associated projects. Supreme Court ordered verification of the site plan of PTI Chairman Imran Khan's 300 Canal Banigala Estate site plan. Supreme Court on Thursday ordered verification of the site plan of PTI Chairman Imran Khan's 300 Canal Banigala estate submitted to the court by his counsel. Advocate Babar Rawan furnished the site plan before a three-judge Supreme Court bench headed by Chief Justice Mia Saqib Nisar in response to an earlier direction by the court. The bench had taken up a suo motu notice on a letter written by Mr. Khan inviting the court's attention towards unchecked and unplanned construction in the Banigala area, large-scale tree felling and the pollution at Raval Lake. The council explained that Union Council Barakahu had issued a no objection certificate in favor of the property in 1990, while Mr. Khan got a proper certificate in 2003. Federal Investigation Agency has dropped charges against the former Capital Development Authority Chairman Kamran Lashari, members in Grand Hyatt Hotel. Federal Investigation Agency has dropped charges against the former Capital Development Authority Chairman Kamran Lashari, ex-members of the CDA board as well as the owners of a private firm which paved the way for regularization of the controversial lease of land for Grand Hyatt Hotel. FIA Director General Bashir Ahmed Memon approved the findings of a de novo inquiry into the lease of the 13.5-acre plot to a private firm, BNP. The report clears the influential former bureaucrats as well as the owner of the private firm. IHC Justice Athar Minala in first layer last declared the constitution of luxury apartments on the land meant for service rooms of the five-star Grand Hyatt Hotel illegal and upheld CDA's cancellation of lease of 13.5-acre plot to the said firm. 3 people injured in a roadside bomb attack targeting government officials' car in Peshawar. 3 people have been injured in a roadside bomb attack targeting the car of a senior government official on Peshawar's Ring Road on Friday morning. An improvised explosive device planted in a motorcycle was detonated when the vehicle of Deputy Director of Provincial Disaster Management Authority drove past in Dir Colony, according to police. A bomb blast occurred near Deputy Director PDMA Shakil Khan's official vehicle, the PDMA spokesperson said, adding that the director and his assistant was safe. Indonesia leader seen revealing his choice for central bank governor soon. Indonesian President Joko Widodo is expected to tell Parliament by next week who he wants to start 5-year term as central bank governor in May, people knowledgeable about the matter say. The choice for Bank Indonesia's governor has to be approved by Parliament, where Widodo, who has not indicated his preference, has majority support. Sources reported that a short list of possible candidates given by an advisor to Vice President Joseph Kala has 4 names: incumbent Governor Agus Martowardojo, Planning Minister Bambang Brojonegoro, former Finance Minister Chanti Basri, and a BI Deputy Governor Peri Warijoyo. None of the 4 have commented. Johan Budi, a spokesman for the President, has said he was not aware of when a nomination would be submitted. 5 refugees killed, 20 injured in Rwanda camp food protest police. At least 5 refugees were killed and 20 injured at a camp in Rwanda after a protest over a cut in food rations turned violent, Rwandan police said on Friday. 7 policemen were also injured. Around 3,000 refugees had camped outside United Nations offices at the camp since Tuesday. On Thursday, police tried to disperse them using tear gas. Police spokesman Theos Baggage told, "We used force." yesterday afternoon. After warning that security forces would be used, he said they started pelting stones, pieces of metal, and in that 20 refugees were injured and 7 police officers. 5 of the refugees died, 15 refugees were arrested, the police said. UN Security Council to vote on Friday on demand for Syria truce. The United Nations Security Council will vote on Friday on a draft resolution demanding a 30-day truce in Syria to allow aid deliveries and medical evacuations, but it was not immediately clear if the text had won the support of Syrian ally Russia. The vote comes as warplanes pounded eastern Ghouta, the last rebel enclave near Syria's capital, for a 5th day running. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres appealed on Wednesday for an immediate end to war activities there. Russia on Thursday proposed amendments to the resolution drafted by Sweden and Kuwait, arguing that the language was unrealistic, that the 15-member Security Council could not simply impose a truce on Syria without consulting the parties. Scandal hit Australian Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce to resign. Barnaby Joyce says he will resign as Australia's Deputy Prime Minister following a politically damaging saga that began with his affair with a former staffer. Mr. Joyce said he would step down on Monday as leader of the Nationals, the junior government partner. He had previously resisted calls to quit amid intense scrutiny over his ministerial conduct. The scandal has dominated Australian headlines for more than 2 weeks. Trump administration to target North Korea with new sanctions on Friday. The Trump administration plans to announce on Friday what is being billed as the largest package of sanctions yet against North Korea to increase pressure on Pyongyang for its nuclear and ballistic missile tests, a senior administration official said. President Donald Trump is expected to talk about the new sanctions during a mid-morning speech to the Conservative Political Action Conference, and the Treasury Department will get into the details later in the day. A senior administration official who spoke to on condition of anonymity called the new penalties the largest package of new sanctions against the North Korean regime without giving details. Vice President Mike Pence had given a glimpse of the 2 weeks plan ago when he spoke in Tokyo on his way to South Korea for the opening of the Winter Olympics, saying stepped-up sanctions would be announced soon. European Union to double funding for military force in West Africa Sahel region. European Union is set to double its funding for a multinational military operation in West Africa's Sahel region to counter Islamist insurgencies on Friday. EU diplomats said part of a broader effort to fight militants and people traffickers. At a donor conference of some 50 countries, including the United States, Japan, and Norway, military power France hopes to win enough backing to allow a regional force first proposed 4 years ago to be fully operational later this year. Fears that violence in the arid zone could fuel already high levels of migrations towards Europe and become a springboard for attacks on the West have made military and development aid there a priority for European nations and Washington. The G5 Sahel force, made up of troops from Mali, Niger, Chad, Burkina Faso and Mauritania, needs more than 400 million euros to be able to meet the demands of its Western backers, up from the 250 million euros it has now. Airstrikes again hit Syria's Ghouta. United Nations considers ceasefire resolutions. Warplanes pounded the last rebel enclave near Syria's capital for a 5th day running on Thursday as the UN Security Council considered demanding a 30-day ceasefire across the country to allow emergency aid deliveries and medical evacuations. The UN envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, pleaded for a truce to halt one of the fiercest air assaults of the 7-year civil war and prevent a massacre in the besieged eastern Ghouta region on the outskirts of Damascus. At least 416 people have been killed in eastern Ghouta since Sunday night, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights War Monitor, with more than 2,100 wounded from the assault by Syria's military and its allies. Planes have struck residential areas in the enclave of 400,000 people and, said medical charities, hit more than a dozen hospitals, making it near impossible to treat the wounded. And now the sports news. Newcomers Sultans trash Peshawar Zalmi by 7 wickets in PSL 2018 opener. Multan Sultan sent shockwaves through the Pakistan Super League on Thursday by inflicting a 7-wicket defeat on reigning champions Peshawar Zalmi in the opening encounter of the tournament's 2018 edition in Dubai. The Sultans were wobbled at the start of their innings when they lost opener Ahmad Shehzad for a duck in pursuit of 152-run target set by Peshawar Zalmi. And now the weather update for the next 24 hours. Rain, thunderstorm with snow over the hills associated with gusty winds is expected at scattered places in northeast Balochistan, Quetta, Zob, Kalat divisions, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Upper Punjab, Rawalpindi, Gujranwala, Sargodha, Lahore, Faisalabad divisions, Islamabad, Fatah, Kashmir, while at isolated places in Multan, DG Khan divisions and Gilgit-Baltistan. And that is the end of the news. For more news and updates, keep watching Humsab TV. Please subscribe to Humsab TV and hit the notification icon on the screen to get the latest updates of our channel. Thank you for watching Humsab TV.